Yes. Counter Attack podcast back again. Myself, Daps. Keep liking, subscribing, sharing as always. Guys that normally watch me, they're gonna notice that up there the painting has fallen down, and you can see it on the floor over there. So I'm quite upset about that. So it's only for the guys that normally watch me. But yeah, welcome back. I've forgotten what the last podcast was that I gave to you guys, to be totally honest with you. But we move. Today, I have a midfielder who has recently just joined Blackpool, actually, and was previously at Liverpool and Hull, Kevin Stewart. So it's going to be a bit of a different one. We're still going to talk about football and everything, but we're also just going to get into some of these, like some of what he does outside of football. Do you get what I'm saying? So it was really good, really insightful. And I'm also just going to potentially bring in one of my friends to also join in on this conversation. So you guys are going to really enjoy this one. So yeah, let me get him in now. And don't forget, keep liking, subscribing, sharing, and all of that good stuff, guys. He should be coming on right now. My guy, what's good?
Yes, what's happening? Daps, you good?
I'm good. I'm just here doing this podcast. Been trying to get you on for a couple of weeks. We got there in the end. To be honest, it was kind of smooth in the end. I think the first time.
Made me sound like it was my fault though.
No. Most of it was my fault. But to be honest, it's funny because when I first tried to get you on, I remember we were supposed to do this, but you couldn't, and you weren't quite sure. How much of that was to do with the fact that you literally just moved to clubs?
No, nothing.
Oh, really?
Wait, was I not too sure?
No. You were sure that you wanted to do it, but it's the day. And I think
the day. Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember we wanted to do it on Monday or Tuesday, and then literally you couldn't do it, and then next thing I see you bloody playing a game for Blackpool.
Yeah.
Blackpool, but yeah, man, how's that going for you, man?
Yeah, it's good, man. It's like so nice to be back playing. It's been a while now. Playing like competitive football. So being back playing like in that environment, winning as well. We've got 2 wins since I've come, so that's been really nice.
All down to you.
The environment, being back around the boys and having jokes and competing, like it's nice to be part of that again.
Yeah, and without getting too deeply into it, like how much of it was in your control in regards to leaving Hull?
I don't know. It was a strange one because at the time, before I left, a few months before, there was talks about me getting a new contract there, but it was a bit difficult in terms of like financials and your usual contract stuff. So I don't think it was in their favour for me to stay there. So yeah, it was a bit out of my control in a sense. So and I think for me, my time was probably up there as well.
Yeah,
probably wanted a clean slate somewhere else.
Yeah,
so I think either way, I probably would have wanted to part ways.
Yeah. So when you look back, and I'm not really going to spend too much time on Hull. When you look back on it, on your time there, how would you assess your time at the club?
How would I
assess it? Like when you look back, how would you remember your time there?
Like extremely challenging. That's what it would be. Met some great people. I met some really good friends. So that's a big one. No, it's not football wise. It would be very challenging. Life wise, it was actually really nice. I had 2 of my kids there. So there's a lot of memories of that, of them growing up in Hull. Football wise, just extremely challenging.
What are the things that might go into it, like making it so challenging as a player that people maybe don't see? Not even what actually happened at Hull, but just in general that people don't really see, and they might look at you and think that, hold on, we're not getting the player we maybe thought we were for whatever reason. Like, what could some of the reasons be behind it, whether they actually personal to you or not?
Yeah, I think it could be like change of environment is hard. So like, I'd never played in the Championship before, so going there, learning like the pace of that league and the different ways that teams play. So it could be just on the pitch, tactically, and intensity is a lot different to other leagues. So I mean, if a player's moving leagues, that could be a big one. Off the pitch could affect people a lot more than what they speak about as well, because I know a lot of people might feel like it's a bit of a weakness to talk about things like that. But people, you can move houses, move from your parents and your friends, feel really like homesick. And it's tough, sometimes if you've not got family, you're moving individually just by yourself. You're alone by yourself a lot. So I mean, a range of things could affect it, man. Just like you're human, aren't you? Just how a normal person can be affected if they go and do a job somewhere else. I think it's just pretty much the same.
Yeah, and it's you saying that because I know you're from North London, right?
Yeah.
So you're from North London, and then now you've got to end up in Hull. And I know you were in Liverpool like before, but for you literally just had your missus and your kids, right, in Hull. So
yeah.
What's that like for you when you've got your teammates, but at the end of the day, you are literally just alone with your people? Like, how do you stay occupied and stay motivated and keep your spirits up?
Yeah, no, for me, it's good. It was fine, man. Like having my missus and 2 kids is like such a joy. But I mean, for people that don't have that, they're just by themselves. I think that's the tough one. I was like that in Liverpool at first. I lived away from home in Liverpool, so I was coming back to just me by myself, which at the time was alright because I was like so indulged in football. I was like, I have nothing to come home to, so I'd just be there like constantly, whether I'm in the gym or analysing clips, or do you know what I mean? So for me, it actually worked alright because I was so indulged in it.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have time to like feel lonely or anything like that. I mean, at times like on days off, maybe, yeah. But I also had a friend that that came up with me from Spurs.
Yeah.
Who signed to Liverpool around the same time. So we lived together sometimes. So that was all right. But no, man, like.
Is he still kicking? Is he still kicking, that guy?
Yeah, he's at Leyton Orient at the minute.
Okay.
But no, do you know, I actually went in the summer. I actually went to a foreign country. I had a medical in a different country. And
what, as in the summer just gone?
Just gone, like like a month ago, not even long ago. And then I went without my missus and that. And bro, I was thinking like for foreigners, I actually started respecting the foreigners that I had grown up with throughout my time playing, and how difficult it is for them, like not learning the language or the country or the culture. Like you underestimate it, but it's tough. Especially, I'm a lot older now, so guys that come over when they're like 19, 20,
exactly. Like especially them ones when they're not even coming from like it's one thing from England to France or England to Germany, but when you're coming from like South America, when you're coming from like South America and them countries there, it's a massive culture shock. So you can only imagine what they're going through when they're young. And I don't know exactly what it's like now in clubs, but I know before there was almost this thing of like, okay, you're here and just settle, get on with it. Do you get what I'm saying? And I would
some clubs are like that.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when I was playing abroad when I was in Nigeria, there was none of that like helping out, blah, blah, blah. It was literally just, here's your stuff, here's where you're staying, boom. So man, I can imagine. But you've moved on now. You're at Blackpool, and this is your first time in senior football anyway, like permanent football, that you've been in League One, right? So what I wanted to know is the psyche of, dropping down divisions. Is that something that weighed heavily on your mind in regards to picking next clubs? And what was it that made you just say, you know what, I'm going to have to do it? Because obviously Premier League, Championship, and it does then become a slippery slope for a lot of players. Hopefully that ain't the case for you. But, what made you make the decision to actually drop down in the end?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably why I had such a big, a lot of time away and a big break. Obviously not out of choice, I wanted to play. But part of that, a lot of that was obviously me wanting to maintain the level that I was at, which found to be hard for numerous reasons. Maybe some that are in my control, some that are out of my control. But then, do you know what? It's when I went to the foreign country, had a medical and everything. So I'd been traveling around a lot in that 6 months to go to different places to train. I'd done like hundreds of sessions by myself.
Yeah.
Which is like mentally the toughest thing that I think a footballer can do. It's so hard, man. For so long as well, and just coming back from lockdown as well, where when I had a club, we were still training by ourselves. So the amount of sessions I've done by myself was just crazy. Traveling around, because then I got sick of training by myself, so I started moving to clubs to train, and that's obviously with 2 kids as well, just moving houses all the time. And then so it was from there. I was like, do you know, I really just need to play now. And then finally went to foreign country.
What country was it? If you don't mind me asking.
Turkey.
Oh, okay.
Done a medical and everything, fell through, and then ended up coming back home. And then from there, I was like, look, I'm done. Like, I'm gonna play. Like next week, I'm playing.
Yeah.
It was just too much messing around. Time was just going. I think the longer you're out the game, the harder it gets. So I was like, look, I just need to play now. And I had, I got a good relationship with the manager here, who I was talking to throughout. That knows me really well, and you know, I'm really happy that I've just knuckled down and decided to come here, because since I've come here, it's been so nice to be back, and we've got a really good group. So it's exciting.
I read somewhere that you were impressed, but when I was reading it, you was impressed with the squad that's there at Blackpool. I was reading it almost as if like you were almost surprised.
No. Like, well, to be fair, because obviously I've obviously followed football, but I normally just follow just the league that I'm in. I'm not a massive football fan in terms of like following football. So if I'm in the Championship,
I'm gonna get into that.
Yeah, if I'm in the Championship, I rarely watch Premiership. I don't watch it that much. So obviously I didn't watch League One that much either. So I just wasn't aware that much of like the players and the squads. I knew a few people from Blackpool, but I just wasn't fully aware of everyone that was there. So then when we got there, and I was like, oh, so I've seen some names and faces that I knew, and I was like, oh wow, like there's some really good players here that's played at a high level as well. So I guess I'd say it's more of that.
Yeah, has that always been the case where you weren't a massive football fan, or was it the older you got, the more you maybe had outside interest or whatever, that it just changed, or was it always the case?
In terms of playing, like I love playing like more than anyone I know. But in terms of following it, I've never been that big of a fan of watching football and football matches. As a kid, obviously loved YouTube, loved obviously watching tons of clips and skills, Ronaldinho, like whoever. Been a big fan of that. In terms of watching football and watching games, unless it's like teams that I really like Liverpool, big games, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United. I just don't watch it that much.
So right now, Chelsea are playing Tottenham. Yeah, they're playing Tottenham right now. If you weren't on this, would you actually be watching the game?
No.
Wow. Wow.
No,
right. No, but do you know what? You're not even the first person. Like, I know me. I know me. I love football. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'll always watch football. But equally, there's people I know and they play at the highest level where they don't really watch football. We're gonna get Bradley in here soon, and he don't even watch football like that. I don't think.
Yeah.
He watches some games. Say again.
It don't surprise me.
Yeah, like a lot of people just don't really. I don't know what it is. Do you think it's
like a chef, innit? A chef is cooking food all day. When he gets home, you don't want to cook his own food.
Yeah, unless you're seeing like the highest level possible. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, I kind of get.
Like we got to watch our own clips. We've got to watch clips of other teams. Throughout the week. So it's a lot of football, man.
Yeah, no, I hear that. That's like me with like, I do so many football podcasts and I love football, but I can't really listen to a lot of football podcasts. I can't do it. Do you know what I mean? I might listen to one or two, but those are like top quality ones. Do you know what I mean? Like I listen to the Beautiful Game. I listen to the Peter Crouch podcast. I think you like the Peter Crouch podcast.
Nah, do you know what? Yeah, potentially, because he's funny.
Yeah. I think you'd like the Peter Crouch podcast and Three in the Middle and a couple of other podcasts. But yeah, okay. So before we get into like the other stuff I wanted to talk about, how did the move? I always wondered this. Yeah, how did the move to Liverpool come about? because you weren't, you never really made. I don't think you made any first team appearances at Tottenham, did you?
No.
Yeah. So is that? So I hope that's not like a touchy.
Yeah.
But that's not.
No.
So,
Thanks for reminding me, bro.
Yeah, but like that never happened.
No,
But
no.
Liverpool come in for you.
Yeah, you got to remember, I didn't go from Tottenham reserves 23s to Liverpool first team. I went from Tottenham 23s to Liverpool 23s.
Oh, you went 23s.
From there, yeah, I didn't go to the first team.
Oh, okay. So
and that came about from a coach that I worked really closely with, one of my favorite coaches at Spurs. He moved to Liverpool before I'd been let go from Spurs. So when I got let go, he then contacted me, brought me there, and then that's how that happened.
What was it like at Liverpool for you?
Unbelievable, man. So good.
Yeah,
like, really good. I was there for 3 years. Like 3 years. Probably one of the best 3 years period in my life. It was like super fun, man.
What makes Liverpool such a big club? What is it about the fans, the stadium, the play? Like, what is it that made it so enjoyable for you?
I think just maybe the vibes of everything is a bit more. It feels like a little less businessy and more like family type feel, and you get that through a lot of the fans as well. Don't get me wrong, there are some bad fans, but in general, from the staff, it's like everyone's aligned, and they all make you feel like you're just part of this big mission. And when you feel that when you go to Anfield and they're singing "You Never Walk Alone," it's just.
What's that like when you're at the stadium and you hear that?
That's the best part. Have you ever been to Anfield?
No.
Bro, you need to go to Anfield just for the song at the beginning. It's crazy. It just like vibrates like through the whole stadium.
Yeah,
and when you're in the middle. Crazy.
And I can imagine just playing on that pitch and then you absolutely just like how much they legit just spur you on, man. It must be so mad.
Yeah,
it must be so. 100%. I saw that Klopp.
Even when you're playing.
Yeah,
even when you're playing. And then like, do you know what I mean? You might, when the team gets on top of you a bit, and the crowd realizes it, and they start, getting certain chants out and start singing, it like 100% gives you like a crazy lift.
Yeah, I can imagine. But I saw Jurgen Klopp called you like the best tackler at the club.
Yeah,
he called you the best tackler. Yeah. Like, when you heard that, tell the truth, were you a bit like, okay, that's me? Yeah, I am the best.
Yeah, I guess so. Because I mean, that's what I pride myself on a lot. Is interceptions, tackles, and regains. And every day in training, I knew that's what I was good at, and I knew that if I was going to play, it's going to be off the back of that. Because on the ball, I'm not going to be the best player there, but off the ball, I could be the best player there. And then the time period I was there, I think I showed that. I really that's probably what kind of put me gave me the opportunities to play there.
Yeah, and the last bit I'll say on Klopp is that lately he's been, which is mad to me, I've seen rumblings from a few Liverpool fans that he needs to get the sack, which is mad. It's not the majority. It's definitely a minority, but I think it's just mad anyway that they're saying that. But you, as someone that's actually played under him, what's he like as a manager?
It's probably just how you think he is. Like, there's actually not much difference from what you see on TV. That's literally him. Like,
just rock and roll, ready.
Sometimes people are a lot different. When you meet someone, you see someone on TV, and you meet him, you're like, right, like you're actually a lot different than. He's like exactly the same.
Yeah.
Exactly okay, it's amazing playing with him, man. He like motivation wise, he's probably the best motivator that I've heard. Like in terms of speaking and getting players to work in a certain way. Like there's no manager that I've seen that can motivate players like he can.
Okay, cool. So now that all that good stuff, all the football stuff is out of the way, you're quite interesting. Well, you interest me because outside of football, you've got a love for property, which isn't too unheard of, with footballers and everything.
Yeah.
But property is something that I'm trying to get into in a couple of years. So in about 2 years, where in terms of portfolio stuff, like I'm kind of new to all of this. So all I know is just about buying one place to live. That's it. But in terms of doing the whole portfolio and everything, I'm quite it's something that I want to get into it. But how did you get into it? And was that something you always had instilled in you, or was it something that you just kind of picked up and learned to love?
No, I mean, just as a normal person does, I think you always know that property is a good thing to invest in. So I mean, that was always part of my plan. I always knew I would, put my money into properties at some point, but nothing like something that I could see as an actual job moving forward or as a career. So I had bought one or two properties already, anyways, just as I just thought, okay, that's a good thing to do, but with no like real intention. And then it wasn't till probably a few years after where I really started getting into it, and I really started thinking. I've always had this thing for building like generational wealth, and I always knew that I would want to do that outside of football also. So at football, I'd never just be like, okay, this is the money I've made from football, I'm just gonna live off this. I knew that I would push on and try and build wealth. But I just never really knew what vehicle to acquire that. And then I came when I came across property and all the different strategies and the different ways to make money in property, that's when I was like really got a passion for it and really fell in love with it and just started studying it like constantly every single day.
Yeah.
And from there, I've just not stopped.
Yeah. Would you say that okay, so you obviously love playing football. I don't want to take away from the fact that you love playing football. But at the same time, is it a thing of like you love playing football, but also a lot of your love in life comes for not just property, but just setting up for life after football, because football is only a small part of your life.
Yeah. That for me, that's bigger than football. It is bigger. But I know it goes hand in hand, anyways. I think because the better I do at football, the more money I make in football, and the more funds I have to fuel property and building that wealth that I spoke about in the future. So it goes hand in hand, and it's a short career. I mean, so the 6 months that I was off playing, it was probably the easiest 6 months of not playing I would have ever had, because I had this property thing as well going. So I was occupied a lot. Otherwise, I would have been like going crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a short career, man. So it's not like I'm like football's in the way. I love playing football, and I know that it's only a short career. I'm not always going to be able to do it. Whereas property, I'm always going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I'll just take the years while I can.
I saw that you were, and I'm going to bring Bradley in now because I know he's got quite a few questions to ask. It's going to become his podcast, but I saw that.
Is he listening at the same time right now?
No. Let me bring him in now. Actually, let me bring him in now. Cool. But he's been on the WhatsApp. He's telling me he's waiting.
Okay, cool.
So I think he's here. Can you see him?
Yeah, I see him.
Yo,
yes, what's happening? Do you know, I thought that water bottle was a mic. I was about to say, man, everyone's got a mic but me.
We're not all professional like that. Look at this guy. New mic, is it?
No.
Just put it in. He's acting like he's had it for ages.
No, I've had it. Okay. What we're not going to do is gang up on me, because Brad, I brought you in. I could easily chuck you out of here, please.
I believe you could put photos on his wall for this as well.
What?
But yeah, no, Brad, love for joining. So right now we were just talking about how we got into it, like in terms of property and everything, and obviously I know you're also into property, Brad. But yeah, I know you might have had any questions for Stu. So I don't know if there's something. I know you wanted to talk about actually doing it as a player and how it might be perceived or something like that. Brad, go on.
Yeah, no, I just asked Kev. Obviously, I don't know if you probably spoke about how you got into it, but did you, going from being a player to going, I don't know how you do it. Have you got a partner, or do you go to close deals yourself and stuff? And were you ever wary of not getting ripped off, but because you're a footballer, people up their prices?
Yeah. So on a project that I'm doing now, I've got a partner in it. So I think I always intended on doing that, getting into property this time round. I always intended on connecting first and networking with people and building relationships with people that know what they're doing and they've got a good track record.
Yeah.
And building that relationship so I feel like I can trust them. And then from there, I always had that plan to do that first. And then, any deals that I had that I was interested in getting involved in, or if they had deals, it's just like, it's a lot easier for me to get involved in it, learn off their lessons, learn off their mistakes, and just leverage off of their knowledge. So the deal I'm involved in now is with a property developer who he's got a good track record that we built up a really good relationship with, really like-minded. So it just feels like for me, I've just gone into a deal with like a friend that I trust.
Did you know this person before, or as you said, you just built up a relationship with him through reaching out to him?
Yeah, so I reached out to him, met him a few times. Like he showed me around some of his sites, and really, like there was no intention of anything really. It was just like literally he was helping me out, become a bit of a mentor for me, and I was running deals by him to like, is this a good deal? Does this make sense? What are the numbers like? And then he was just literally just helping me out, and then it got to a point where there was an opportunity for me to get involved in a deal that he had. So then for me, it was like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And it's gone well since then.
I think it's good, and it's something that I'm more passionate about now. Not the end of my career, but the older I get, the more obviously thinking what I'm going to do after football and stuff. And I've said to Daps before, I said in football is something that they don't teach young kids, and even not in football, in life in general, like in school.
Talk about this all the time.
Yeah, they don't teach kids about mortgages, loans, buy-to-let mortgages, bridging loans, nothing about that. And I've always said this as well, like previous managers have been out about clubs and they do like education stuff. I think they need to teach these young kids about like getting into property.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. We was actually speaking about this in a clubhouse room the other day, about clubs maybe providing services like that for players, which I don't know, man. For a club, I'm not sure how much sense that makes, because is it their job to do that for players?
Yeah, no,
I mean, it's arguable. Maybe all they want to do is make sure they can play and make sure sort them out in terms of football side. I don't personally believe maybe I wouldn't rely on a club to teach me.
Yeah, no, and that's what we spoke about as well. We said because in football, I think we was in a clubhouse room not so long ago, Daps, and we were speaking about when players do stuff outside of football, it's like sort of frowned upon. Like, it's
well,
like
I hate that. I can't.
It's like managers will be like, you're not concentrating on your football, whereas like you said there, we are human beings at the end of the day, and we've got to think about our future after football. And I think that's why a lot of people don't think about what they're going to do after, because they're so focused on, I've got to perform this weekend, I've got to perform that weekend, my manager's on me. Like you see it there, we spoke about when Jesse Lingard brought out his clothing line and he got hammered in the press for it. But you got to remember that we are only humans. We've got to think about what we're going to do after football.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people don't really do ventures like during their career, where I think people should start doing that towards the end of like what I'm doing.
Can I just interject there? So what I find, so Brad, obviously, because I know you personally, I know that you have, if you don't mind me saying, you have properties. Okay, cool. But the thing is, I find that a lot of people I know who actually have properties, it's always something, or ventures outside of football, it's always something they've got to do in secret. Whereas like they don't, like everyone's got a public Instagram and stuff like that, but they won't show it. But then I see you, Kev, and it's literally, it probably dominates your Instagram more than the actual football. So is that something that, you made a conscious effort to do, or it is just what it is? You don't even care. You've got ventures outside of football. You don't really care what people say.
Yeah, no, definitely that, man. I think, well, it's a business, isn't it? It's like anything else, like me having a clothing line and not putting my clothing line out online. It doesn't make sense. You're not going to get no business. I mean, the amount of opportunities that I've got through telling people what I'm doing is a lot. Do you know what I mean? So I think in the future, I think it's very tough to go from football to starting a business straight, fresh from just finishing and having to build it up. If you're already moving, you've got already momentum through playing, you know what I mean? It makes you a lot easier. And I just see it as like, you've seen the stats, man, of footballers that go broke after. So, I mean, you can either, either way, you're going to get scrutinized. You get scrutinized for going broke. Oh, how can you go broke and make so much money? Or you can get scrutinized for, oh, you're doing ventures while you're playing football. And then none of these people are going to help pay your bills after football's done if you do go broke. So that's how I see it in terms of that. I've never really been too fussed about, you know, people telling me that I can't do ventures outside of football, because at the end of the day, it's just you, and you're the one that's got to provide for yourself and your families after. And I'm just always a big believer, man, that whatever you're doing, I just feel like you've got to tell the world about it.
And that's key, what you just said there about building it while you're still playing, because that transition of I've seen it. I say I'm coming to the end of my career. Hopefully, I've got a few more years left of me. But players that I've played with recently just focus on football, and then it ends, and then they're in no man's land. They don't know what to do. Then they start trying to do this, and it goes wrong. Then they start trying to do that, and it goes wrong. So I think for me now, like telling young players, especially young players, always like think about what you're gonna do after football and start putting them foundations in towards the end, or even now, start from young. And then, as you said there, the transition from when you finish playing and going into something else, it just runs smoothly rather than finishing and then sitting there thinking, what am I going to do now? And you see it in so many players. I've
had people like trying to, like, so people on the podcast, come on the podcast, or people that I've spoken to, and they're trying to work it out as they're going along, and they finish football now, and it weren't something that they ever thought about. Because I think more and more players now are starting to realize that they're going to need a plan, and it just can't be all about football and whatever. But there's so many people who I've spoken to where they're making their mistakes on, like, as they finish football, and you can't really do that. Do you get what I'm saying? So whereas you guys are actually, I'm pretty sure you lot have made mistakes. You know, have you lot made mistakes in regards to property and stuff like that?
Yeah. Not huge crippling errors, but some errors I'm like, before I acquired like the knowledge, now I look back at it, I'm thinking like, oh my God, like why have I done it that way?
Yeah, so like that. Yeah, you get a lot of players like or not players, but just people in general, they made their mistakes, you know, and now they're in the position where because they've laid the foundations, they're able to reap the benefits of it. Like, I spoke to you before Brad come on, and I said, I don't know nothing about property. It's something that I want to do. All I know is about buying one house to live in. But if you told me about
I think as well, that is the problem as well with footballers as well. They're not scared to ask, but
you know,
100%. They are, because it's like they don't want, they're scared to ask for help because they feel like they don't need help. I'm earning this amount of money, but it's not even asking for help. It's just guidance and, you know, like you said, networking and getting to know new people.
You know, it's funny. Like, it's good that we've connected, man, because we've got we're quite aligned, I think. But I speak about it all the time, man. Because I actually now I've got quite a lot of friends that are developers, and then I'm just like, I just don't. When I was younger, when I was at Liverpool, I remember we had guys, some financial company, come in and talk to us about stocks and shares. And to this day, I'm always like, why has no property people ever come in? It's always about stocks and shares. Financial advisors from agencies or wherever, they always talk about stocks and shares. I was like, why has it never been about property? And then so we speak to developers about it, and I'm like football, it goes hand in hand. Like, the amount of developers that look for funding, and then the amount of footballers that just have money sitting in their accounts. Why is there no connection between these two? And I just feel like there's a bit of, the footballers don't want to reach out because, like how you said, and maybe it's the same way as the developers. They don't want to reach out because they feel like probably footballers are very skeptical. They've heard horror stories, so they don't really want to get involved in terms of money, get involved with someone when it's talking about money that they don't know. It's just, do you know what I mean? It's hard. So that's what I've found joy in doing since I've been in property, is kind of being that bridge where I know both sides and trying to like smoothly connect people together, and, you know, just get the footballers just thinking about it a little bit more. And it's and when I did that, it's kind of like the footballers were like, wow, like they've been looking for that for a while.
And that's what it takes. It's like, people wait for someone to do it and then want to come on with you. It's like, I guarantee you've done your property stuff, and as you said, post it on your Instagram, and I guarantee you about 5 of your mates or footballers mention, oh, let me come in, bring me in, and oh, how does it work and stuff. It's just all it takes is that one person to just do it, and then people start jumping on it. But like you said there, I'm glad we linked up here because I can contact you now and we can talk about it.
Yeah. So whilst you're here, what's this latest one that I saw that you had? Was it something in Birmingham City Centre apartments?
Yeah, that's one I mentioned with the partner that I'm.
That was on yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's all up all the time, man.
Yeah, we was in that. We joined that yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
in your clubhouse? Yeah.
Oh, did you jump in?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah, that's the first time. That's the first time I've been a mod. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard, you know.
I'm telling you,
it's crazy. Like, I was trying to listen to the convo at the same time, but then when I like get too caught up in the convo, then like I miss out on who's up next to speak. Like trying to search the room at the same time. So it's hard, man.
But do you know what? Do you know what though? That app for me personally is such a good app. It's such a good app in regards to connecting. That obviously with every app you get the mess and whatever, but that's whatever. But like for me personally, I've networked and connected with so many people who I wouldn't usually come across. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. And for me personally, that is so. Even something as little as my podcast. At the beginning of my podcast now, I've got these graphics, proper nice graphics. Or someone on Clubhouse connected with me saying, "Look, I can make your podcast like this. I can make a podcast like that." Do you get what I mean? I've met with agents because of Clubhouse and whatever. So the fact that you're able to be in a space where you can actually have these conversations and you don't ever feel, I think what I like about it the most, you don't feel pressured to have the conversations. So you, like yesterday, were on stage with whoever you were talking, and Brad can just sit in the audience and just listen and just take in the information in the comfort of his own home. So I love it, basically. I love Clubhouse. Do you get what I'm saying? And
sick, man. I probably, networking wise, I probably networked more in the last month than I have like in 2 years on like other platforms.
Yeah.
So in terms of networking, it's been crazy, man.
Yeah. What is this place you got? Did you say it was apartments?
Yes. It's 48 student apartments for student accommodation in Birmingham.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's
Did you?
It's good content, it's exciting.
Was that something that kind of got pitched to you, or was that something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, no. I've always loved like apartment buildings. I've always been really fond of just like big buildings. I never thought about developing them really, but then as I said, when I was I built a relationship with the partner that's building it now. I actually brought him another deal that I was going to get involved in, and it was something completely different to what I told him my goals were and what I wanted to get involved in. So he was a bit like, why would you get involved in that? It's not what you said you wanted to get involved in. And then literally like 2 days later, an opportunity popped up with this deal, and he was like, "Oh, I've got something better for you." And then Dennis got involved. Like, it was a no-brainer for me.
Is it harder?
Again, that's what it comes down to, just talking to people and reaching out.
Yeah, well, every opportunity, man, comes from you. You got to speak to someone.
Yeah.
So like, everything's a people business. Everything.
Yeah.
So every opportunity that ever come to you or to me, when you think about it, it's meeting someone, speaking to someone.
Because people probably sit there like I was at first when I first thought, oh, I want to get into property. You sit there on Rightmove and think, oh, I'm going to buy this house, buy that house, but you're never going to get a deal on Rightmove and stuff like that. So you need to speak to people who are, like you said, I've got an estate agent now who I work with, and he phones me when he's got a deal, or if I'm looking and see something, and we speak like that. But you always need to speak to someone who has been in the business and knows it inside out. Really,
it's so
especially when you're new, man. You need to limit the mistakes you make. If you can get involved with someone else who's made dozens of mistakes already, you just leverage it.
It's so funny you say that. Like, just hearing you say you're not going to get a good deal on Rightmove, yeah. Someone like me would go on Rightmove. Do you get what I'm saying?
Don't get me wrong.
No. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying though. Like, when you've got the connections, you know, there's people that can see something and be like, actually, no, I can do better. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's so crazy just having this conversation. it opens up my mind to,
Yeah, but you got to think about it. That if your friend, say if your friend is an estate agent and you have spoke to him previously and said, listen, I'm interested in blah blah blah, the estate agents always get the first dibs on the property. So if that house goes on for sale and the owners are like, oh, I want this amount for it, and the estate agent says, oh, I can get you this amount, if you're the estate agent's friend, they'll come to you and say, listen, this woman's selling her house for blah blah blah. This is what she accept, and then you cut out the estate agent fees and stuff like that. That's how it works. So just networking and people like that. I'm not saying you're not going to find a deal on
yeah. No,
I don't like Kev does the developing side. My properties are always. I've not developed a property.
Already existing, yeah.
Yeah, mine's already like I'll just buy a house and buy to let and let them out. But that's something I want to get into, like developing, and that's so I'm at that stage now where I've been offered some stuff to develop, but I'm going through that stage now where I want to develop now, and rather than, like I said, I've done the buy and lets, I've bought up a nice portfolio, but now I want to start trying to develop and get into that way.
Yeah. I mean, you can buy good, get good deals on Rightmove, but they are gone in a second.
Yeah.
You need to be on it. You need to be on it because they go so quick. They don't sit around, man.
Do you guys find that investing into property during like the pandemic, is that harder or does it make it more difficult, or has it actually been a blessing in disguise?
I think it depends, man. It depends what your strategy is. I think there's some things that's taken a bit of a hit, and then some things where there could be some really good opportunities. So, like for example, if you're someone looking for a lot of commercial properties, the amount of commercial properties that maybe be available for cheaper because a lot of places have been shut down, not being able to pay the rent and having to leave, could get some really good deals. Yeah. So I think it depends. Definitely a bit of both. Definitely opportunities in a pandemic for sure.
Yeah, I was talking to one recently who he had this warehouse that he converted into studios. So, but you know what I'm talking about, innit? The guy that I'm doing my thing with. So, what's happened with the whole pandemic is that now there was a building, another warehouse right next to his that was just empty, and the person that had it, there was no one, in it, no one renting it or whatever. So he managed to get that for like the bottom of the barrel price, and now he's renovated that or converted it into a whole new building with a lot of studios, and that's gonna. Do you get what I mean? So I know that I know that commercially a lot of buildings and landlords are giving proper.
As Kev said, it depends what sort of market you're looking for. Like you say now, the pandemic's hit, and I think speaking to my estate agent, buy to lets have gone up a lot more because people don't want to commit to buying a house and getting a mortgage out on it for 25 years. So a buy to let where people let it for a year or something, they've come into demand now. But it depends what avenue you want to go down, and if you want to get into like commercial or developing, or if you want to go to buy to lets. There's always, as Kev said, there's always deals, and in this pandemic, there is deals to be had.
Do you guys?
There's going to be a lot of distressed owners, man, that are, the finances might be a bit tight. They might have to shift some of their properties and take a bit of a hit on them. So there's always opportunities to get a deal.
Do you guys, as players, like band together and do all this stuff, or is it something that you generally do in your own time by yourself? You don't really not spread the knowledge or whatever.
I was saying to Kev there, it's most of my stuff I've done it by myself, and like my wife, she runs them, she manages all my properties and stuff, so we've got like a little business. But in football, players don't want to invest until they see results. I don't know, would you agree with me there, Kev?
Yeah, no, you're right. That's what I mean. I think that's part of a reason as well why I put it out so much. It's just because I wanted to show people it's all right to do that, and this is what it looks like. It's quite exciting. I think building up a place. So I think if they see that, and then they can see that how much I'm excited by it, they might want to get involved in it. But recently, I've got together quite a few players and a developer as well, and we just been flirting with the idea about doing something together. And I've made sure that it's a good developer with a very good track record, very trusted, watertight business. and they've been really interested in it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens from there. But I mean, if it was just me coming to them with a deal, I think you're right. Like, they want to see results. But, you know, if it's someone who is already a developer and he's delivered this all over the country, they can see the results already. So they're like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. But yeah, for sure, man. If it was just like me bringing it, they'll be like, nah, what have we done? I think rightly so as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Don't you like ever think of like the possibilities, like that you lot? I mean, the possibilities of things that you lot could achieve if you lot all put your resources together, like what 100%. You lot could do.
Yeah. Oh, collaboration is like the most powerful thing ever, man. Like that, I find it strange, man. How I think that there will be stories of footballers that have done stuff together, but I think that would be like because they've been like best of friends. Yeah. But for sure, man, like we're all in the same boat. We all got, we're all kind of gone down one career path and dedicated down one side, and we're quite vulnerable, to be fair, after football because that's all we know. So like collaboration, man, is definitely something that I believe in, and something that I've been trying to like change the culture a little bit. And I think it's just a bit of a culture thing where it's got to be changed a bit, and one person sees a group do it. But there's a lot of fear inside football as well, and a lot of, you know, there's been some stories that put out there by just some silly guy who's not done things right, and he's just, do you know what I mean? So I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, I think
it's funny because there's so many success stories, but the success stories don't ever get spoken about. Yeah, you don't know about.
True.
Yeah, you don't know about them. So even I had Dexter Blackstock on my podcast, and when he was talking to me about some of the stuff, yeah, I was just like, what? And then after I did the podcast with him, one of my subscribers or listeners sent in a YouTube video that it had the 10 most footballers who have made more money outside of football. Oh, 1 second. Why has this come up? Oh, I've got 3 people in there. Okay, cool. Yeah, we've got 10 minutes left. All right, cool. Yeah. The 10 people have made the most money outside of football than they did in football. And Dexter Blackstock was in like the top 5. And I was just like, what? But you don't hear about these stories, but you hear about the one that's gone bankrupt, you know, last week and whatever. So I think by you doing stuff like that, like putting it on your Instagram, I'm not saying now all of a sudden everyone's got to put it on their Instagram or whatever, but it at least shows that, oh, this is what can happen. And younger players, imagine if the younger players, like you lot said, knew about this and then got into it from a younger age. Like you said earlier on, the generational wealth that they're building it will be ridiculous.
Yeah, do you know what I think I'm quite like passionate about as well, because I think a lot of majority of footballers, I think usually, you know, they're self-made in terms of they're the first people to see money in their family. So I think it's such a shame, man, when they've got the opportunity to like break the cycle of their family that's come from, you know, their parents never had nothing, their grandparents never had much, and then they finally got this opportunity to make money, and, you know, maybe, you know, change the cycle of their family, and, you know, because they don't have knowledge, that just crumbles and they go back to the same old cycle again. So I just think that's a bit of a shame, man. I think if people was more aware of what's possible and in terms of property and investing, then I think a lot of people will be a lot better off, and just the world be a better place, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's definitely where I'm at with it. I'm a big believer in generational wealth as well, and my mum is it first or second generation? I don't know, where my mum was born and raised in Nigeria, and she come over here, had to work her ass off and everything. So
exactly.
Yeah, so like now like she does all right because she's got 4 kids who all help her and everything. But I'm very big on not having to struggle, which is why I proper work my ass off now. Do you get what I'm saying? But anyway, hopefully, you know, everything works out. I'm glad you two could connect. Have you not played against each other? You lot must have played against each other last season.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You kicked me up a few times. Okay.
Yeah, I actually remember playing for the last time we played, probably last year at our ground. I remember playing against you. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can't run in it, Kev.
Sure. No, yeah, we'll definitely connect after this, Kev.
Yeah, hit me up, man. Do you know what, as well? I was actually planning on doing like another room where we just, because even coming to this club now that I'm at now, there's been a few people that I've just been speaking to about property, because obviously they see what I do, and just speaking to them, and they're just so uninformed. Obviously, just how like I was and how you was before you kind of went on to do that. So I just wanted to like make a little room, talk about finances in football, and the way they've structured some of the properties they've bought. It's not been great, and I just want to just help them out a little bit, give them a bit of advice, and maybe access to trusted people that know what they're doing, that can help them a little bit. And if you could jump in, man,
definitely, I'll be up for that.
That'd be good.
I mean, I won't have much to offer, but if you need a mod, then
yeah, you'd be a good mod, but I'm telling you, it's hard.
Hey, listen, Kev, he don't stop talking, so it'd be good.
Oh yeah, whatever.
In the whole room. Yeah, you might not know what he's talking about, but he'd be talking a lot.
I've just been dickoing. If I bring Dicko in, but guys, love for this. Kev, thanks so much for coming on. Brad,
thanks for having me.
Brad, as always, your family, love for coming on. And this has been, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not just saying this. This is probably one of my top 5 podcasts that I've done. Honestly, because
Kev, he says it after everyone.
I thought so. How many has he done? He said top 5. What you done? 6?
No, I get it. Hey, I'm on 152 now. So yeah, I'm on 152.
What's the name of your podcast again?
Hey, well done, Brad. We're not doing that. Okay, we're not doing that. But on a real, I say that because I pride myself on actually having real conversation and stuff like that. So this has been really informative, and hopefully a lot of people will learn stuff from this, man. So yeah, man, you lot, big up every time, man. Guys, make sure you like, subscribe, share, all of that good stuff.
A bit, mate.
And nice to meet you.
Wait. I need to end it properly, mate. Do you know what I mean? So, all right, cool. We're out.